Hello, good afternoon, everyone. My apologies for the slight delay. We are now going to begin the candidate panel this afternoon. We'll give each one of you an opportunity to get to know each of the candidates. You'll be able to ask questions during your scheduled caucus events later on, and that's your opportunity to ask questions to the candidates. Each candidate will be given 3 minutes to provide a statement. And after those 3 minutes, we'll move on to the next candidate. We have the candidates in the waiting room waiting to be called. First, we'll call for presidential candidate, Melissa Dragnup-Hawk. Melissa, you have the floor.
Hello, I am Melissa. I'm from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And growing up, I would say I was really a New Yorker at heart. I'm from a Peruvian heritage. And I am running for a 3rd term. You may be wondering why. Back in 2016, we talked about the 3 E's: engagement, empowerment, and elevation, or elevate. And that was really the tone for my 1st term. Looking at organizations, getting them involved, learning from other people, sharing toolkits and resources, empowering each other, and elevating our entire community to be active for our rights, to be equal to the hearing community. I want to share one story. When I was 11 years old, and this is a longer story, but I'm going to share just an excerpt of it. There was a car accident, and the parents had to be told that their son, or brother, had died, and there was no interpreter until finally an interpreter came. And remember, my parents are from Peru, so they were unable to understand the interpreter. And I sort of stepped in as the deaf interpreter to work as a relay interpreter in that situation. And in that moment, I sort of realized that there are risks inherent in this particular way of life, and that it's so important that we have language access, advocacy, and the right to make decisions for my parents, in this case, for my brother. So that's a tiny little excerpt of a longer story. And of course, all of us have some stories that put together as the tapestry that talks about our ongoing fight for linguistic, civil, and human rights as Americans. So the delegates are going to be voting on the priorities, and then the board makes sure that those priorities are worked on for the next term. We see that systemic racism is an issue that we absolutely must dismantle. And the only way we can do that is to work with different organizations, to partner through webinar, through trainings, to share resources, to educate ourselves by reading, unpacking our own privilege, all of that. And it isn't something that is done either by individuals or by organizations, but by both. And then, of course, the transparency of communication is important. Sending emails, meeting with state affiliate chapters, national organization presidents, having a way that individuals can contact their regional representatives to get to the board. So I am asking for your vote again this year. Thank you so much.
Melissa, thank you. We only have a single candidate for the president's position. We have 2 candidates for the vice president position. Richard McCowan, I'll ask you to come take your statement, and I invite you to the floor.
All right. Okay, you can all see me? I am in gallery view. I am. I don't see the timer. I'm sorry, I'm not understanding what, I'm seeing a message in the chat, but I'm not following.
Richard, go ahead with your statement. We can see you. You are live. Yes, please go ahead. Your 3 minutes starts now.
Oh, okay. Hello, everybody. My name is Richard D. McCowan, and I am running for the role of NAD Vice President for the upcoming term, 2020 to 2022. Thank you.
Richard, are you having technical difficulties?
Say that again?
I can see you. You can go ahead with your statement.
About what?
You have 3 minutes.
Gotcha. Okay. So why am I running for the role of Vice President yet again? Good question. Well, number one, I am a Black man. And I feel I must continue in this role. We need to have Black leadership at the forefront of NAD's board. We are building our commitment to diversity, and I need to be a part of that. As I understand it, I am the only Black candidate this time around. So I don't think that we can continue our commitment to diversity if I don't stay in the race. I think it's important for me to keep going, keep building the bridges that I've started to build. One of the priorities actually has to do with diversity on the board, and I just have to say I was very happy to see that. I do think we need to fight against systemic racism. And it's important for me to continue the work. I'm a team player. I believe in group endeavors. We all bring different ideas to the table that ultimately makes us stronger. I also want us to make right from wrong, act from a place of morality. The delegates are going to be voting tomorrow. And obviously you can vote to let me continue in my fight against the system, or you can vote for the other candidate and I will no longer be on the board. And I want to be on the board because I want to have our voices heard, people of color specifically. It's important that we be empowered to be engaged and involved. It's been 10 years and we are making incremental progress, but there is work to go. It's tough, but it is important work. I love the NAD, and I want to represent all of us, especially the Black deaf community. Thank you.
Thank you, Richard. Our second candidate for vice presidency is Amy Gum. Amy, please take the floor.
Hello.
Amy, you can go ahead and start. Thank you.
Thanks very much. So I'll introduce myself for those of you who don't know me. I'm Amy Gum, born and raised in New Mexico. I'm a proud first-generation American. My mother's from Mexico, so an immigrant to this country. I want to be your vice president for really many different reasons. One is that I want to acknowledge that there are three main reasons. One is education. Obviously, education is critical for deaf community members, language acquisition, language deprivation, really important issues that we need to address. And I believe that there's a lack of representation of the BIPOC community in the education community. My experience, the first time I had a BIPOC teacher was second grade, a Black individual from Africa. And then after that, I never saw another BIPOC teacher until I got to college. So where were my role models? So I think we really need role models for young deaf and hard of hearing children. We need BIPOC community members to become teachers, administrators, superintendents, etc. The second reason is about systemic oppression. It's a real thing. We look at the NAD policies internally, the bylaws, the process of how the Council of Representatives is run. I think we have to change the system from within to ensure equity for all. We need to provide resources and training for community members and state associations as well as affiliate chapters, so that people know that they can advocate and other BIPOC individuals know that they can become leaders in their own communities. As they see BIPOC leaders as role models, they themselves are inspired. The third issue is about interpreting. Now, I know that we do not have enough certified interpreters, and we certainly don't have BIPOC affiliated interpreters for BIPOC affiliated community members. So we need to think about that as an issue as well. We need to preserve the culture. The interpreting programs, the curriculum in ITPs or IEPs are very white focused. So that is another place where we really need to push for systemic change. We need to be agents of change in all of these various arenas so that we can dismantle, fix, and rebuild. I believe that's what we need to do starting at the NAD, and I hope I will have your vote for vice president. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Amy. Our next candidate is the candidate for secretary. We have one person running, Jenny Boschner. Jenny, please join us.
Hi, everybody. I am Jenny from Wisconsin, born and raised and still live here in Wisconsin. I was originally appointed as an NAD appointed board member back in 2013. I was a regional rep for a while, really enjoyed the service, enjoyed getting to meet people, enjoyed getting to represent them. And then there was a position available, secretary, 4 years ago. I stepped forward. I've been doing it for the last 4 years. And I have to tell you, I have enjoyed so much serving as your secretary of the NAD. My contribution to the NAD, I feel, is not done, especially with what's happened over the last several months. There are lots of important issues that have emerged, and I feel like that work needs to continue, and I want to be a part of it. You might be wondering what exactly I'm referring to. There are two big things that I want to share with you. One, obviously, is the coronavirus, and the other is the Black Lives Matter movement. They are so critical at this time, and it's critical that NAD do introspection, that we do community building and relationship building, making sure that we have appropriate communication and information sharing, transparency through all of the issues. And we want to transform NAD from the inside. The board has started to do that work on a more in-depth level the last couple of months, and it will continue. And that work is so critical to me, critical to our community. If you vote for me as your secretary, I pledge to continue doing this crucial work. It's important that we continue through our Council of Representatives to break down barriers by choosing our top 5 priorities. And that work is work that I want to continue for the next 2 years. I hope that you allow me to continue serving as your secretary on the NAD board for the next term. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jenny. The next candidate, we only have one candidate for the position of treasurer. I'll invite Michelle Klein to the floor.
Hello, I am Michelle Klein, and I am running for the position of treasurer for NAD. I currently live in Massachusetts, but I was born and raised in California. Moved to New York, and I moved to a few other places, but finally I settled down. I was in New Jersey for a few years, and then I moved here to Massachusetts just 3 years ago. I've been involved in junior NAD since 2014. I did run for 1 term as treasurer. And I was also historian. It's important that we remain very healthy and very strong. It's important that NAD continues to be strong economically as well, but it's important that NAD continues to be strong as I look forward to how we can ensure that our vision and our priorities are met and how we can support the staff that are running these programs that we host through NAD and support their continuing work. Managing programs as well as priorities I've been doing for many years. So I've had a lot of experience with budgets and managing budgets, and I've brought that expertise to the NAD in my time as treasurer. I intend to continue to look where we can support in additional areas and in continuing to support the efforts that we already have existing. Of course, we all have experienced various barriers for different reasons. We have to be creative because of that. We continue our fights, even though we may experience barriers at times. We are all here because we want to continue to advocate for our rights as deaf individuals. Also, we need to support our young people. We need to support we have to be agents of change, supporting young people as well as other populations within the deaf community. And resisting oppression, especially regarding people of color. I've been involved with NAD for 6 years and I've learned so much about systemic oppression. And as I'm learning, I'm making those adjustments and looking at how we as an organization can change as well. And I'm committed to continuing that type of work with NAD.
Thank you, Michelle. That's the end of the board candidates that we have. We now will turn to our regional representatives. We have 4 of them, 4 regions. I would like to start with Region 1. We have 1 candidate running, Jacob Leffler. Jacob?
Should be low. Also. Good afternoon, I'm Jacob Leffler, and I'm running for Region 1 representative. I was born in New York, Buffalo, and I had settled in the state of Maryland for several years. I bring a wealth of experience. I've been involved in several different organizations, and I am committed to the change that needs to occur in this day and age. I have several areas that I'm interested in and have been involved in employment task force, enforcement, dealing with national employment committees. I'm on the bylaws committee. So I work with various individuals in these various roles. I'm running for NAD representative for Region 1. I really have a passion for the deaf community and for collaboration within the community and with other advocates. I'm involved in advocacy, and I can provide examples of that advocacy work in Baltimore City here in Maryland. I've been involved with working with interpreting and getting interpreters for press conferences locally. I've educated the Baltimore City Mayor's office that what the interpreter's role is and how to best use interpreting services. So I've collaborated with the city to improve access for deaf and hard of hearing residents here in the city and in the state of Maryland. In New York, if you look at Governor Cuomo, as he prepared and started providing interpreting services, that provided basically a template for us to increase access in our local areas. I have a heart for the deaf community and for seeing our advancement as well as working with interpreters. I'm a team player. I'm a skilled communicator. I'm committed and hardworking, and I can work with many different people. I love partnering and collaborating with other organizations, and I have here in Baltimore with the Baltimore Deaf Association and with other with our local affiliate and with other local organizations in the Baltimore area. We've done joint work and wrote memorandums of understanding. We make sure that there is open communication pathways amongst all that we collaborate with and that we have very strong relationships to achieve our goals. I think it's very important to increase communication amongst other parties, other stakeholders that may share interests. So I hope that you vote for me.
Thank you, Jacob. Now we'll move to Region 2. We have 1 candidate running for that position, Lindsay Darnell. Lindsay, will you please come to the floor?
Thank you, Ben. Hello, I am Lindsay Darnell Jr., and I'm from a small town here in Nebraska where there's only 300 people. I'm interested in representing Region 2. I've served on the Nebraska board, and my experience is growing up in the Region 2 area, and I really strongly believe in hard work and how hard work leads to results. Those results are very interesting, and that's what I am most focused on. We've done work which has been resulting in transformation. NAD's board has had the 4 years plus the previous 2 years, so 2006 through 2008, looking at the principles set forth by the president and different members of the boards and different committees that are serving here in NAB. And having a voice throughout Nebraska, being able to advise our councils about the needs of deaf individuals. I can show that I'm able to cross barriers and work with diverse groups of people. And I plan to bring that type of skill to the board. Number one, is racism and breaking down systemic racism. That has to be addressed, and that begins with looking at yourself first. It also includes partnering with others and accepting that feedback. That area we need to improve. I do believe that. I also believe that there is growth in finances that can occur with sponsors, with collaboration with other organizations. And that will have a greater impact. I also believe that our vision can lead NAD to a new future. Thank you for your time. I believe I'm up. Ben, I yield the floor.
Thank you, Lindsay. We now have 2 candidates from Region 3. I'll first invite Lisa Rose to the floor. Lisa?
Hello, everybody. I am so thrilled to have the opportunity to see you today. I come to you with many different hats, teacher and a leader, and I promise if you vote for me, I will continue to work for the benefit of the Region 3 members, providing opportunities, diversity for our deaf and hard of hearing community. I've been in Region 3 for quite some time. And my experience as a leader, my most recent experience, I think reflects the strength and the breadth of Region 3's needs. And I am all in to continue working with the members of Region 3. I know that there are struggles out there and there are barriers. And we have so much that we can be proud of. And we have challenges that if we just maintain an attitude of positivity, we will overcome. My energy is high, my attitude is positive, and I would love to be your representative on the NAD board. I want to talk to other members in the region and then community members and staff members to bring positive change for the betterment of Region 3. I want to maintain open communication, sharing of resources, listening for feedback and input, discussions with members, and facilitating that to headquarters. I want to hear your concerns and your issues so that I can be the liaison to headquarters and then share information back. I believe that by gathering feedback and input, we can become stronger, more diverse. So in summary, my goal as a representative for Region 3 is to represent the Region 3 members on the NAD board, to share your concerns and issues so that we can work together and be successful in the future through transparent communication and resource sharing from the national to the local levels for the betterment of the deaf community. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Lisa. Our next candidate from Region 3, I call to the floor Michael Swoboda. Michael? Michael, you have the floor. Go ahead.
Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. I am Michael Swoboda. I am running for your Region 3 rep. I grew up in Illinois, been in Texas for a little while. Now I'm in Austin. And I want to explain to you why I am running as a representative for Region 3. I've been working hard for the rights of the deaf community, the deaf-blind community. I've been active in deaf community and people with disabilities organizations and the right of senior citizens. I think it's just important that we grow NAD and we grow the youth of NAD so that they can be involved in these important critical issues of our day. We need to recruit more BIPOC youth. Black Lives Matter, and our youth must be involved in leadership. Black, Indigenous people of color are needed at every table that we are at. I want to provide that sort of training for everybody. Second, communication access. For example, 911, interpreters, ASL programs, making sure that we have communication access in all venues of life. And I also believe very much that we need employment opportunities for our deaf and hard of hearing community. There are people who have not yet gone to college, but NAD can support these individuals with training and workshops to lead to successful employment. Some people don't know what their rights are. They are not educated as to what their rights are. And so we can improve the quality of life for our individuals and their families by working together. If I am elected as your representative, I pledge to work hard to improve our collaborations with SSA, with other organizations, with state agencies and various stakeholder groups to make sure that we have full open communication, diversity to make us stronger. I think communication is the key for everything. We have to understand we're all coming from different places and we want to work together as a team in many ways. I want to thank you for your consideration. I hope that you'll vote for me, Region 3. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mike. Next, we move to Region 4. I'll ask James Christensen to come to the floor for his statement. Thank you. James, go ahead and turn your video on.
Hello, everyone. Let me get situated. All right, I'm ready to go. Hello, everyone. My name is James Christensen Jr. I identify as Caucasian and Latino. I have Mexican heritage, and I want to thank the Council of Representatives as well as the board and your and the delegates as well for allowing me to be here in this wonderful core. So I am actually from the northwestern corner of the state. It's a small town called Ferndale, Washington. For the first, second, and third grade of my primary years in school in California, I went to a bit of a mixed classroom. So it was in a mainstream school, but there were other deaf students in a program under the mainstream school. I also went to NTID RIT. I was the president of the Washington Association of the Deaf for 4 years and also acted as the treasurer. So I have been part of the WAD organization for the better of 10 years. And so I, during that time, have been reaching out to legislation here in Washington and making sure that they continue to push access, including caption services and interpreting services for the deaf. If I am selected as a representative, then that means I represent all of you. And so your voices will be heard, your concerns, your needs, and anything you want to convey, I would be the channel to convey that information to NAD and really push your agendas. And we notice there's quite a disparity in balance. And we really need to push for more equity.
There's a change in the number of priorities.
And there was quite a change in the number of priorities as well. So I look forward to possibly representing you as your Region 5 rep. Thank you so much. Region 4, excuse me.
Thank you, James. That completes our candidate panel. The vote will be held on Saturday. And we wish all of the candidates good luck. We thank them for their presentation this morning. And you'll have an opportunity to ask some questions later during our caucus meetings. We will now go back to our regularly scheduled core meetings. Again, if you have any questions for the candidates, you may ask them during the scheduled caucus meetings later on. This concludes our candidate panel.